beautiful K-pop and juice family. If you're new here, welcome to the space where we sip on the sweetest celebrity tea and dive deep into the stories behind your favorite stars. And if you're a returning subscriber, you already know we don't just talk headlines, we talk heart. Today's episode is one that feels warm, intimate, and incredibly special. We're stepping beyond the flashing cameras, beyond the red carpets, beyond the perfectly lit drama scenes, and into the emotional world of a man who has quietly transformed from top-tier leading man to devoted family figure. Yes, we're talking about Hyun Bin and the heart of a family man that's melting fans all over again. When most people hear the name Hyun Bin, what comes to mind first? Is it Captain Ri Jong-hyuk from Crash Landing on You? That quiet, intense gaze that could stop time? The disciplined soldier who loved fiercely but silently? Or maybe it's his earlier roles, the emotionally complex Kim Joo-won from Secret Garden, the charming yet layered characters that made him one of Korea's most respected actors. For years, Hyun Bin built a reputation as a man of few words, strong presence, and undeniable charisma. He was the type of actor whose silence spoke louder than dialogue. But recently, something has shifted. Fans have been noticing it. The interviews feel softer. The smiles linger longer. The aura, warmer, more grounded. And it's not just imagination. There's a new dimension to Hyun Bin, one that's rooted in family, love, and emotional maturity. Hyun Bin's love story with Son Ye-jin already feels like a K-drama script written by fate itself. Two actors with long, established careers, years of crossing paths, rumors that swirled, chemistry that exploded on screen, and Crash Landing on You. And then, real life stepped in. What began as speculation turned into confirmation, then into one of the most celebrated celebrity weddings in Korea. Fans weren't just happy, they were emotionally invested. It felt like the ending we all hoped for. But here's the part that really touches the heart. Hyun Bin didn't just become a husband, he became a father. And those close to him have quietly revealed that fatherhood changed him in ways that even longtime fans find beautiful to witness. According to industry insiders and subtle hints from interviews, Hyun Bin has embraced fatherhood with a sincerity that reflects his off-screen personality. He has always been described by colleagues as respectful, disciplined, and deeply thoughtful. But now there's something even more tender beneath that calm exterior. The man who once embodied icy composure now radiates protective warmth. Let's talk about what this transformation means. In Korean culture, family carries immense importance. Privacy is valued, especially for celebrities. So the fact that Hyun Bin and Son Ye-jin choose to keep their child away from the spotlight speaks volumes. It's not about secrecy, it's about protection. It's about preserving normalcy in an industry that constantly demands exposure. Fans have noticed how Hyun Bin subtly references family in interviews now. He speaks more carefully about time, about responsibility, about balance. There's a grounded energy when he discusses his projects, almost as if he weighs every decision not just as an actor, but as a father thinking about legacy. And that's powerful, because think about it, Hyun Bin has already achieved what many actors spend lifetimes chasing: commercial success, critical acclaim, global recognition. Yet at this stage of his life, he seems more fulfilled by emotional stability than by public applause. Doesn't that feel refreshing? In an industry that thrives on constant visibility, Hyun Bin's quiet devotion feels rare. He's not posting family photos, he's not giving dramatic interviews about fatherhood, he's simply living it, fully, privately, authentically. And let's pause for a second. Have you noticed how his on-screen performances have evolved too? There's a depth lately, a subtle emotional layering that feels more lived in. When he portrays love now, it doesn't feel like performance. It feels like experience. When he portrays protection, it carries weight. It's almost as if real-life fatherhood has enriched his acting palette. This isn't uncommon, by the way. Many actors say that becoming parents expands their emotional capacity. But in Hyun Bin's case, the shift is visible even in his body language. The once intensely guarded star now carries a softness in his eyes during public appearances. And fans, especially longtime supporters, feel it. One particularly touching detail shared by acquaintances is that Hyun Bin is deeply involved in hands-on parenting whenever his schedule allows. Despite his demanding career, he reportedly prioritizes returning home as much as possible. There's something profoundly beautiful about that. A man who once lived inside film sets now cherishes home life above all. And can we talk about the symbolism here? For years, fans admired Hyun Bin as the ideal romantic lead, the dream husband archetype, the steady, protective, emotionally reserved man who loves deeply. Now, reality mirrors fiction, except it's even better because it's real. It also shifts how fans relate to him. The fantasy evolves into respect. The admiration deepens into something more mature. Instead of just swooning over visuals, fans now appreciate character. There's something about seeing a public figure grow into fatherhood that humanizes them. Suddenly, the star becomes relatable. He worries about schedules, he thinks about work-life balance, he considers the future not just in career milestones, but in bedtime stories and family dinners. And that contrast is striking. On screen, Hyun Bin might still play elite soldiers, corporate powerhouses, or complex anti-heroes, but off-screen, he's reportedly the type who cherishes quiet mornings and values stability over noise. Let's also acknowledge Son Ye-jin's role in this story. Their partnership seems grounded in mutual respect. Two accomplished actors choosing family over spectacle. Two adults building something steady rather than dramatic. It's not flashy, it's foundational. And maybe that's why fans feel safe rooting for them. In a world where celebrity relationships often feel fragile, theirs feels intentional, thought out, protected. You can sense that Hyun Bin approaches family life the same way he approaches his craft, with discipline and depth. Now, here's a question for you, Juice fam. Do you think becoming a parent changes an actor's screen presence? Have you noticed the difference in Hyun Bin's recent appearances? Let's talk about it in the comments because I genuinely love hearing your perspectives. There's also a broader conversation here about masculinity in Korean entertainment. For years, stoicism was often the defining trait of leading men. But today, audiences are drawn to emotional intelligence, to vulnerability, to men who can be both strong and nurturing. Hyun Bin embodies that shift beautifully. He doesn't overshare, he doesn't dramatize, but his quiet devotion speaks volumes, and sometimes silence is louder than declarations. It's also important to mention how carefully he navigates media exposure. There's a protective instinct not only toward his child, but toward his wife. He rarely indulges in speculation. He maintains dignity. That restraint isn't coldness, it's responsibility. Fans respect that boundary. And here's something else to consider. Hyun Bin debuted in the early 2000s. That's over 2 decades in the spotlight. Maintaining relevance in the K-drama world for that long requires adaptability. But he hasn't reinvented himself through scandal or shock value. He's done it through growth. Professional growth, emotional growth, personal growth. And honestly, that's more compelling than any plot twist. When you look at his trajectory, from rising star to global Hallyu icon to family man, it feels organic. Nothing rushed, nothing forced, just evolution. The emotional life beyond the screen isn't glamorous, it's not choreographed. It's messy in human ways, sleepless nights, responsibility, compromise. But maybe that's what makes this chapter of Hyun Bin's life the most beautiful one yet. Because at the end of the day, when cameras turn off and scripts are set aside, what remains is who you are at home. And everything we're seeing suggests that Hyun Bin's truest role, the one he cherishes most, is being a husband and father. And that might be his greatest performance. Not because it's acted, but because it's real. Before we wrap up, I want you to think about something. Fame is loud. Family is quiet. Fame demands. Family nurtures. Fame is temporary. Family builds legacy. Watching Hyun Bin prioritize the latter reminds us that success isn't just measured in awards, it's measured in presence. So as we continue following his career updates, new projects, and public appearances, let's also appreciate the softer story unfolding behind the scenes. The bedtime routines, the shared meals, the protective love. Because sometimes the most powerful stories aren't written by screenwriters. They're written in living rooms, in whispered conversations, in moments no camera will ever capture. Thank you for spending this heartfelt moment with me today on K-pop and Juice. If this deep dive touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next sip of K-drama warmth. And tell me in the comments, what do you love most about seeing your favorite stars grow into new life chapters? Until next time, stay glowing, stay curious, and keep sipping that juicy tea with love.